Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another Danesfield School live webinar today about making the most of tabs in Microsoft Teams. My name's Ben McGuinness, and I'm a Year 3 teacher here at Danesfield and leading our EdTech team. And I'm joined once again by Anthony Foy, who is my teaching partner in Year 3 and also part of the technology team here. So he'll be joining us a bit later. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, then there is a Q&A section on the right-hand side of your screen. You should be able to click on there and you can type any questions in there, and at the end of the session, we'll try and answer as many of those questions as we can. And if you've asked a question and then it's been answered, then don't worry too much about that. If you haven't seen any of our previous webinars, then please check out our website, danesfieldschool.co.uk, where you can see our previous 3 webinars about getting started with Teams, about using assignments and setting up your meetings with your class, and also just a general overview of what Danesfield School's been doing with remote teaching. You can also find the webinars on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Danesfield School, and also check out the EdTech Demonstrator School website, where you can see information about our future webinars and also the other demonstrator schools that are also doing webinars at the moment. There's loads of really good information out there. So if you're listening to this, then hopefully that means you're ready for the next stage in your team's journey, and you've got your team set up, your class teams, they've all got 365 accounts, and you're ready to start having a look at setting up different tabs to make the most of your teaching. So first of all, what is a tab? So tabs allow the team members to access services and content in a dedicated space within a channel or a chat. So each channel within your team and each individual chat session with individual people has its own set of tabs, and you can see them circled there at the top of our Teams page. And in a previous webinar, we talked about the standard ones: posts, files, the class notebook tab, assignments and grades. We're going to be talking about some of the additional tabs and apps that you can add. And the great thing about the apps, it just shows that Teams is constantly moving forward. There are lots and lots of apps that you can use within Teams, and they're being updated all the time. So let's have a look at the apps that are available. So like I said, you'll be able to see on the screen now that there are literally hundreds of apps within Teams. So we're not going to be able to talk through all of them today. And I can tell you at Danesfield School, we do not use all of them. There's lots of them that I'm sure are useful for businesses and other schools, but we're going to tell you about the particular apps that we use at Danesfield for remote teaching, and also within school, how we use those apps as well. So today we're going to have a look at Flipgrid, which Anthony is going to tell you about in a little while. So it's a video recording app that, again, we've used with remote teaching and we've used in the classroom a lot at Danesfield School. We're going to look at forms, so where you can create questionnaires and quizzes within Office 365. We're going to look at the website tab, so an app, so you can add URLs to your team, and you can see that, find out the benefits of that. We're going to be looking at Microsoft Stream, also within Office 365. We're going to have a look at Insights, which is fairly new to Teams, but been really useful for us, especially with remote learning. And then we're going to touch very slightly on Cahoots, which has very recently been added to Teams, and we just had a go at using it this week, and we found it really fun. So we're going to have a look through those. Now, the first thing we're going to be looking at is websites, and for that I'm going to pass you over to Anthony.
Thank you, Ben. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us. So one of the features of Teams is that you can add websites to your tabs. Now, the great thing about this is that these websites will then stay on the platform. You don't need to leave Teams to get onto the websites. So they're safe and the children can't get lost, so they can't go off and get lost on the internet somewhere because you've directed them exactly where to go. They're convenient because they know where to find them because you've put it in the tab for them, and they get notified about that. There's easy access for websites that you use a lot of the time, and that's easy access for the kids, but also for the teachers too. Because it's adding websites, there's unlimited options because you can add any website that suits your team on here. It's also possible to add them to different channels as well. So if you've got maybe a channel for your science subjects, then you can link that to a science website, or for your English, you might want to do it, or even just for a single lesson, you might have that in a separate channel and you can link a website so the children know exactly where to go, and it means they can stay within the Teams platform the whole time. So I'm going to give you a look at some of the ones that we use, and I'll just show you how to add them to your tabs. So if I just start to share my screen, I'll show you how to share these websites. So the first one we're going to look at is Spelling Shed. So I need to get to my team. So here we've got our team, Class 3M. It is a fake team that we just made up to keep our children's names and that all hidden. So so to add this one, you need to go up to the Add a Tab. Click on here and it will take you to all the suggested ones. There's a search bar for other ones if you want to find them, but the one that we are going to use today is this website one. So add websites that you need to get to in a hurry, as it says there. So I'll click on that. Now it says to put in the name. So in our school, we use Spelling Shed with our kids. So we want them to have easy access to Spelling Shed. So I'll put in the name, Spelling Shed. The URL you have to paste here, so it does say that you need to include the HTTPS. So if I just go into my browser, there I've got my website. I'm just going to copy that, go back to my team, paste it in there, click on save. I've got an option here to post it to the channel, post to the channel about this tab. That means it will notify everybody in that team that this has been added as a tab. So I'll just hit save, and that is up there. And now everybody on this team can now access this website. They'll still need to sign in, just like you do here. But it's very easy for them. They're easily directed to that website now for you. And if they click Remember Me on it, then they can get in. They can get in really conveniently into there. The other one that we use, Times Table Rockstars. I'm sure lots of the primary schools are familiar with. So again, add a tab. It's a website that I want to do. They don't have their own app just now. So website, Times Tables Rockstars. I need to go get the URL for that one, so I'll come back into the browser. Here's the one for Times Table Rockstars. Remember including that HTTPS part. Copy that, back into my team. Paste it in here. I want to inform that team that this has been added to it, so the children get a notification telling them that it's there. And there we go. So now at the top of my tabs, I've got my Spelling Shed. I've got my Times Table Rockstars. Like I said, you could post it to a different channel. Maybe I would post this into a maths channel, and the spelling could go into the English channel because they've got different tabs. But for younger children, we just normally put it up on the general post so that they can find it really easily and safely. So obviously for our staff teams, we use different ones. We would add Twitter this way. And Facebook. So we would never put that on a class team, but we would put that on our teachers team, and that's really convenient because the children are uploading the work to Teams, so it's already there. which means we can very easily just post it on our social media pages to show people and parents what we're getting up to. Those files would already be on Teams. We'd also maybe put our maths websites on there to get those resources, maybe something like Twinkle, so that we've got easy access and we don't need to leave the Teams platform for that. So that is the next, so that is the websites. The next thing that I'll tell you about is Flipgrid. Now that is an app on here, and it's one that we use all the time. We use it extensively, particularly in our remote teaching, and it's so useful, and the kids absolutely love it. So it is a video sharing app. So the children can perform on there, they can showcase their work, practice their languages, they can get feedback on there. The thing is, teachers love it because it's not the same as marking. We can just have a look at their videos and assess them through the video. It's great. It's great evidence because you can collect that as evidence and give them feedback. You can also give them feedback via video, which I'll show you a bit later. So we've used this for any art projects that we've done. Children would just present it in a video on Flipgrid. We've had them doing science experiments, which is fantastic because all the children can then see each other's science experiments. Some of them might not be able to do it at home, they might not have the resources, but at least they can watch how their classmates are getting on with it. We've used it for a puppet show. You can see one on there, someone's doing a story map, if you're familiar with Talk for Writing, so we're still doing our story maps, and the children are just shown us that on Flipgrid. We've used it for hot seating, and we've even worked collaboratively with other classes using that hot seating. So one class would be a character and another class would ask them questions, and it means so many people can get involved with that at the same time. I've done hot seating for my whole teaching career, and when you introduce Flipgrid, the enthusiasm and the engagement for it just really goes through the roof. We've used it for discussions recently as well, because you can reply to videos with your own video in Flipgrid. So we've used it for children using connectives to add to people's points of view, things like that, or disagree with them. It really gives the children a student voice, and it gives them confidence. You know, our children are gaining confidence by presenting their work, and when they see everybody's doing it, they feel a bit less self-conscious about it, and it's really improving their speaking skills. So it's so engaging, it's so good for teachers, so good for the kids, and I'm going to show you how to add Flipgrid. So there's a few possible ways to add Flipgrid. So if I start to share again, now the first thing you will need to do is go to the website first. You will need to be logged in. You will need to be signed up with Flipgrid. So you can get to flipgrid.com. There they've got info.flipgrid.com. So yeah, you will need to sign up. It is free for educators. I've already signed up for it, so I'm just going to log in to my one. So here we've got the grids. So the grids are the things that will show up on the tabs in Teams. So I want to add a new grid, so I'll show you how to set one up today. Add new grid. I'll maybe do it for maybe maths investigation. I'll give it a name. Then you need to select the grid type. Now you can do it so that people out with your community can access this grid, but usually we would always use just the school email so that we know who is able to view the videos, who is able to share the videos. So we would normally always go for the school email. So I've got my name, I've got it just for people that are in my school community. and then it's got this flip code here. So I'll go to next. Now here it's asking for the school email, so it automatically comes up with your school ones. It has to be a Microsoft or a Google account for people to access this. You can add more than one domain name. Maybe if you're an academy, you might want to do that if you want to work together. And also if students and teachers have different email handles then, or email domains, then you might need to add that in as well. Ours are all the same, so we're all right with just this one. So that's quite a good safety feature that only those people will be able to access that grid. So here we go, my grid is ready. Now you can embed it into Teams using this option. So if you go to this option, it will ask you to name the team in the channel that you want it to go to. So I can do it that way. There's one for the Google Classrooms, but the way that I'm going to do it today is I'm going to go back to my tab. So I'm going to copy my flip code here. So they've made a unique flip code. I've copied it. So now I'm going to go back into my team. Here's my class 3M. But like I said, there's more than one way to add Flipgrid. Flipgrid is on here on the suggested tabs here. So it's the white plus sign on the green background. So I'm going to add that in there. And it should be asking me for the code, but it's not yet. So I'll just give that another go. There we go. So enter a flip code or the Flipgrid URL. I got my flip code from earlier. I'm going to use Control and V just to paste that in. There, they found it. Again, I want to post this to the channel to let everyone know that it's there. I need to log in. Remember to click Remember Me on that one. Log in with my Microsoft account. And there is my maths investigation. Now this is accessible to everybody that is on this team. So I don't want the URL up there. I want to rename it. So here you've got the settings. You can rename or remove them here. I'm going to rename that one just to grid. There we go. Right, so now this will appear on everyone's page that has access to this team, and they click on that tab. Here we've got just the default introduction. I'll show you how to change stuff like that yesterday. There's the big plus sign. All you need to do is click on that to be able to record a response. So if I click that, I'm able to make my video. Here I am. Surprise. You may recognize me from the Microsoft Teams adverts. So there's lots of options here. You've got filters that the kids just love to use. This is why it's so engaging for the children. This one might be better for me today. Lots of different filters. The children, they can write on it if they'd like to. They can add these stickers, which they love to use as well. I'll maybe put a little rabbit on there. So this is all before they've started their video. They can draw on it. There we go. And they can just make it white or black. I'm going to remove that one. And they can also add their own things in here as well. So they can add the custom stickers in here. So when they're ready, they'll hit record. they'll make their little video, something about their maths investigation in this case. Another thing that we've been using it for, which has been fantastic, is if the children can save their writing as a JPEG. Now, I think I've put this into but here it is here. So I've put my hot write into my webinars folder, and if I open that as a JPEG, it comes up on my screen. So then I can put this on the side, and now this is fantastic for the children can then read out their work. I'll just budge up a little bit. The children can then read out their work so that you can assess them on that. We had children write a script on there, and then they acted it out with puppets on the other side. So I'll just hit record. Here you can assess their writing as well as their speaking skills, and for their reading skills as well. So it's a really great feature of it. So I'm happy with my video, so I'm going to go to next. Here it lets me review it. So I can review my video. I can add more to it if I'd like to, add some sticky notes, and show the topic. That will tell me what the teacher's instructions were again. This is perfect, so I'm going to go to next. And this is particularly the primary school children's absolute favorite part. Your video needs a selfie, so you have to make a funny face. And this is where they start really putting in the stickers. There's an unwritten rule with the children that you have to have sunglasses on. But every single one of them goes for sunglasses. So there they are. But there's lots of things to choose from in here. I like to give myself a pirate hat. There we go, looking pretty cool. You can write in there as well. You can change those filters like we showed before, drawing on it, and add your own ones as well. So I'm happy with that, looking pretty fly, so I'll press next. Right, now it's going to prepare my video, ready to upload it. So it's got my display name, title, Pirate Maths. I can link a website in there if I'd like to. Our kids don't use that though. Submit my video, and it should be there. So complete. I'm going to give this a refresh. And this will come up on everybody's team. Everyone that has access to this team will be able to see that. So there's my video up here now. So now, if I click on it, you can see that I have this option here to reply to it as well. So children can reply to each other's videos with another video. I think giving feedback this way is really 21st century marking. So you could give them video feedback this way. Now the way to change lots of things on Flipgrid, you do need to go back to the website. So I'm going to go back to my Flipgrid website. So here I've got, this is the maths investigation. So I've got lots of options in here. I can add a Copilot, which we do in our year group. You can see here, this is all of year 3, so all the teachers can be co-pilots on it, giving them these powers to edit things within it. If I go to the topic that I've got here, this was my maths investigation, edit topic. So I can change the title if I want to. I can change the prompt for the kids. This is quite useful that I can change the recording time. So there's a limit to how long the children's videos are. You can make it longer or shorter. This one's really important. So video moderation, if you put that on, that means that you have to approve the videos before they will be put on to the team. So you can do that. Will help you with the child protection. Add topics to it. Topic attachments. You can add videos to it. So you can add a video and so that the children would watch that as their stimulus or a picture. Lots of things you can do here. You give the students that video editing powers. Say if there's a view count, you can have them like each other videos if you would like. Do you want to allow student-to-student replies? So quite a lot of control that you've got in here. This one is for feedback. You can actually put gradings on here if you would like to. So there's basic feedback, but if you go to custom feedback, you can add your own criteria there. Give a possible score so that your kids are then getting graded for these videos as well. So lots that you can do on there. The other thing that they've got on Flipgrid is there's an educator community, so it's full of ideas on here. You can see some of them on here. Flipgrid's weekly hits, get lots of ideas in here about how best to use Flipgrid. Yeah, so there it is. I can edit that in here. Find my flip code again, change these ones if I want to. I can make it active or I can hide it. I can set if I want notifications for it. I can say if the children get notifications or not. I can say whether the children can download it. Definitely not, because I don't want them having me with the pirate hat on. You can personalize it here, so you might want to put on a picture of your class or something that's to do with your stimulus. So yeah, lots of things that you can do with Flipgrid. And I'll pass you back to Ben there. And he's gonna go on and talk about some more tabs that you can use.
Thank you, Anthony. Yeah, so Flipgrid, just a couple of extra things about Flipgrid. There's a link on your screens at the bottom of the page here, flipgrid.com/cgerard02. And that is a link to lots of videos of to help you, and they're all little Flipgrid videos, which will help you get started with Flipgrid, and it shows you all that stuff that Anthony has just shown you, and there's so many extra tools within Flipgrid that you can use. There's Grid Pals, where you can link up with schools all around the world, and you can create grids together and collaborate with video calls. So there's lots to do. So check out that link, and there's some additional things on there for Flipgrid as well. So next, I'm going to talk to you about forms. So Microsoft Forms is built into Office 365. It's been around for quite a while now, and we're just going to show about how to use it as a tab within Teams, so you can create quizzes in Forms, and you can create questionnaires, and we use it a lot for assessment, either end of unit assessment, end of topic assessment, or for setting reading comprehension tests and things like that. And this makes it a little bit more interactive for children. They quite enjoy filling in the quizzes and questionnaires, so it's just a good additional tool. So I am going to share my team screen with you, and let me just do this. Oh, bear with me 1 second. Okay, so here is my team, and I'm going to our Class 3M team, And I am going to hit the plus, just like Anthony showed us. And again, we don't need to search for our forms icon because it is up here. So we can click on forms and it gives us an option. So we can either create a form within Teams, which is great as like a collaboration tool. So that means you would create a form that people within the team will be able to access and add things to and will edit together. But we don't want to do that today. We want to add an existing form. So if you've created any forms, they'll all be listed here. So I am going to go to office.com and you've got your forms icon here. And I'm going to, so when we click on that, we come into Microsoft Forms and you'll get your list of all the forms that you've created in the past. And you've got a choice of either adding a new form or adding a new quiz. And the main difference between the two is a form is more like a questionnaire for collecting data, whereas a quiz, you get to choose the correct answer. So that means that when your children choose their answers for the quiz, it tells them if they've got it correct or not. So there's right and wrong answers, whereas if you do a new form, it's a questionnaire. So there might be multiple choice, but it's not necessarily that there is a right answer and a wrong answer. You're just gathering information. So we normally do a quiz. And we have been recently learning about topic sentences. So I'm going to make a quiz about topic sentences. So I'm going to write a title. I could add an image if I wanted to, just to spice it up a bit and make it a bit more interesting. And I could add a description. But we're going to start adding our questions. So when we click Add New, we get a selection of question types. So we've got choice, which is multiple choice questions. We get text, which allows the children to write answers as sentences, so full text, which is a handy tool. Like you can set up so that answers are correct or incorrect still, but the difficult thing is if there's a spelling mistake or an extra a full stop or a question mark in the wrong place, then it will put the answer is incorrect. So it's a difficult one to use sometimes. If you want to do like a star rating or a rating out of 10 question, then you click rating. And then you've also got date, where you can ask a question and then the answer can be given by choosing a date on a calendar. There are more options as well, but we're just going to choose for today. We're just going to do a multiple choice question. And we're going to ask, what is a topic sentence? And I hope that our Year 3 class would know the answer to this because they've been learning about it this week. And then you get a choice, so you can put some options in. We can add an image to the question as well if you wanted to do that, because you might be asking a question about something on an image. But we're just going to use text for now. And our first option is going to be, what is a topic sentence? Is it a sentence? Ooh. That ends with a question mark. Okay, and then afterward you can see that I can either delete that option. I can set it to display a message if someone chooses that as the answer. So it might say try again, think about this, it might give them a bit more information, or I can click on the tick to set it as the correct answer, which this is not. So our option 2 is going to be a sentence that's explains the main themes of Reader. Okay, so that is going to be our correct answer. So I'm going to put a tick next to that. I can add more options if I want to. I can add lots of different options. I'm just going to leave it as those 2 for this example. I can also add points to this question. So if they get the answer right, they get so many points. So you can choose that. And you might have a question where there's more than one correct answer. So there might be multiple answers. So you could you can click that. You can decide whether the question is required, so they won't be able to submit their quiz until that question has been answered. You've also got options for things like maths. So you can set maths questions on here as well, and then it will recognise formulas, and it has like a calculator option and stuff like that on there. So there's lots and lots of options. We could do a whole webinar about forms because there's lots you could do with it, with branching and things like that. But we're just going to do a basic example for today. It's just going to be our one question, And like most things in Office 365, I've created that, and so it has automatically saved. And if I go back to my forms main page, I can see that topic sentences is now it's the first form on there because I've just created it, so it's already gone on there. I'm going to flick back to my team, and I'm going to try and re-add my forms, and hopefully the one I've just created. Add an existing form, topic sentences, there it is, just created it and it's there. So we can post to the channel about this tab just so everyone knows that that form has gone on there. And then I can click save. And again, it says fill topic sentences. I mean, I might want to rename that, and you might want to just rename it quiz. And it could be a temporary thing. You might just put the quiz on there for a day. And again, it's just a bit like the websites app, where it's just easily accessible for the children, because they could be accessing this through Office 365 in the browser. But if they're working just in Teams, it means they haven't got to leave the Teams platform. And there it is, and they can answer their questions. They can put their answer in within Teams, and then they can submit. So we use this a lot. I'm going to put another one on here. We can see a bit more of an extensive one. Let's have a look at a fractions quiz that we did. So again, it says, oh, I can't look at that one because it's already been submitted. Okay. Well, we'll go back to our quiz. I'm not going to submit this one because I'm going to need it later on. There are also good things like the Immersive Reader is built into forms within Teams, and we're going to do a webinar later on another day about the Immersive Reader and other accessibility tools. But this allows the children to click on sections of the quiz, and then they can have the text read to them, and they can change the font size, and makes it just a bit more accessible to them. So that's a handy tool, and you can do that with the questions as well. So if they need things to be larger or set out in a different way, then they're able to do that. Click play and hear the question being read to them. So that's forms, very basic version of forms, but just so you can see that it's really handy just to put into your team. And we use this as well. Our senior leadership use this for things like our school policies and like risk assessments, and the head teacher, Sarah Morgan, she will set up a form where she'll ask her staff to say, yes, I've read these risk assessments, and then she can collect all the data for that on our Danesfield staff team. So another, I'm going to flick back to and talk to you about another quiz app which has recently come to Teams, which is Cahoots. And Cahoots, I think, has only come onto Teams in the last couple of weeks as an app, and lots of people may have used Kahoot before for polls and quizzing, but it's just been added to Teams, and we have trialed it this week, and the kids really loved it. It was really fun, really engaging, and so you can do live quizzes and polls, and now you can assign challenges within Teams as well. And like forms, it's automatically marked. So once it's been submitted, you don't have to mark it as a teacher, but you can still give feedback on that, and then you can get a report just like forms as well. So I'm going to add a Cahoots tab. So same thing, I'm going to hit plus, and again, Cahoots is up the top here. And I'm going to add Cahoots, post to the channel about this because the children will be excited. And I've already set up a quiz within Cahoots. So we've been learning about capacity in maths this half term. So we made a capacity quiz using some power math stuff that we use. And what it allows you to do is, as the teacher, you can either present the quiz, just like if you were doing Kahoot in the classroom. So if this wasn't online learning, you would present it like this in the classroom. So you'd have on your smartboard the Kahoot quiz, and all the children then would have to download the app or view it on Kahoot.it on their devices, put in the game pin, and then they can all do the quiz together, or you can do a poll or a questionnaire or something like that within the classroom, and then all the data would then come up on the screen. But because we're still teaching remotely in year 3, we're now able to assign the quiz as a challenge for the children. And you can choose when it needs to be completed by. You can decide whether the question timer is going to be on there. So if you want to restrict how long they've got to answer each question, which I don't want to do that. You can randomize the answer order. You can allow it to choose a nickname for the children, but I'm going to let them put their own ones in. And we'll create that. And then on the posts tab for your team, so the challenge has been set. On the post tab, the children will get a notification to say that Kahoot, there's a new challenge. Then they will be able to open the challenge. They would have to choose themselves a nickname. So I'll do Mr. McGuinness. And then the quiz opens up for them and they get to answer the questions in their own time. So it's not live with the other children. So we've taken some images from our Power Maths work, and then it's multiple choice, and then they would just choose points as they go. And then if I just go to the Kahoot website, and you can see that this is our capacity quiz. I can see that 61 people have played it. I can see who got the answers correct, how many points they got. I can see which children possibly need some help because they didn't do quite so well in the quiz, and you can see the children that didn't finish the quiz. So there's a lot on there, and you can give feedback to the children. So really handy tool, really fun. Like I said, we've only started using it this week, but I thought it was just another good quiz tool, a bit like forms, slightly different format, but just another interesting one to have a look at. Okay. Microsoft Stream. Now this one is really important for us, especially during remote learning. It's been an absolute hero of an app, Microsoft Stream. It's in Office 365. When we record our meetings with the children, it saves it automatically to Microsoft Stream. You're able to upload video clips to Microsoft Stream, so you can see in the clip you're seeing now. This is one of our reception teachers, and she's pre-recorded this video of a phonics lesson, which then the children can then view through Microsoft Stream in their own time, and you can see all the videos there for them to choose from. And I'm going to show you how you can integrate a forms quiz into your videos in Microsoft Stream. So let's go back to my team. And I'm going to hit the plus sign again, and I'm going to click stream. Now, when I do this, it says I need to put a link to a stream channel. So I'm going to head over to my Office 365. And again, we have the icon here for stream. So I would click on the icon and it would take me to my home page for Microsoft Stream, where I can look at the content I have already. So we need to set up a channel. So you can see I've got some channels set up already, one for our year 3 team, one which is some maths videos for year 3, and for some of our staff training. I'm going to create a new channel, and I'm going to create it for my class 3M team. I can give it a description if I want. Is it a channel just for my group, just for my one team, or is it a company-wide channel? So is it going to be the whole school can access it? And so for this one, it's just going to be for class 3M. So I'm going to choose them, and then I can add an image to it if I want to. So if I want to just add the school logo, I can do that, and it just makes it look a bit nicer. So now I've got my class 3M channel set up, but when I click into there, it says not much to see here because I haven't got any videos in there. So you've got options. So you can either upload videos. So if you pre-recorded content, then you can upload it by clicking on here and then just dragging it in or browsing on your device. Or you can look at the videos you already have saved through Microsoft Stream. So if you are recording your meetings with the children, as we are for remote learning, we record our meetings every day so that the children can watch them back, or if they can't access the meeting at the time, they're able to go back and view them again later. And then it helps them out with anything they're not sure about. So if I click on meetings, they are automatically stored here, and then we can change the names of them, update the details. So this is today's meeting, and so we've just got them by date. So I'm going to use yesterday's meeting, and you've got options here, add it to the watch list, or I'm going to add it to a group or a channel, because I want to add this to my Class 3M channel, because this is what they're going to use for their work. So I'm going to share it with a channel, and I'm going to search for Class 3M, and there it is on the drop down. So I can click on that. I can see already that I'm the owner of this video. I can see that it's displayed within the Year 3 remote learning, so that's our normal Year 3 team, so it's displayed in there, and now it's also going to be in Class 3M. So I'm going to save that. I'm going to go back to my channels, and if I click on Class 3M, I can now see that the video is in there ready to use. So I need to get a link to this channel. So just like in Teams, there's an ellipsis here, which means more actions or more options, and I can share, and then I've got the link to the channel, which I can click to copy. I'm going to go back to my team, and I'm going to paste that link in, and then they get a drop down, and there we go. And then we can choose the tab name here. So I'm just going to call this one videos, post to the channel about this tab, and click save. So now our videos tab is here, and there is our new video. So the benefit of using Stream is that the videos don't need to be downloaded, they stream, which is obviously the name of it. So parents or children or teachers can watch these videos, they can just click on and they will just stream within Teams. Then every time you create a new video, so if I go back to my content, and I think, right, actually I want to add today's video as well to that team, then I would just do the same. I would add it to the channel, really simple, Class 3M, save, and that will have gone into that channel. And if I refresh this on my team, there it is straight away. So your team meeting recordings would usually be available to view and to add to your stream channels within about 10 minutes of ending your meetings. So that's really handy. So I'm just going to go back to my videos. I'm going to go into my meetings, and I'm going to view my Wednesday call. And our Wednesday call was talking about topic sentences with the children, and I'm just going to get to a point of basically where the topic sentence chat ends, which is around here. So I've just dragged the white dot there to a certain point in the video, and then you can see where it stopped. And you can see on the right hand side here we've got interactivity, and it says add form. So if I click on add form, I can paste the URL for a form in here, so a form that I've created. So I don't know if you remember, but I did create a form about topic sentences today. So I'm going to open that up. I'm going to click share, top right, and I can copy the URL for this form. I'm going to go back to Stream, and I'm going to paste the URL in here. And I'm going to call this topic sentences. And then I can choose position on the timeline. So it tells me that's at 4 minutes 51, and then I can drag that if I want to move it slightly. But I'm going to add it to the timeline there, and we can see topic sentences 4 minutes 51. So now what happens is if I go to just before that point on the video. So I'm at 4:41. Let me just enlarge that. So I'll play the video. Oh, it's playing. So we're just coming up to 4:48, and once we get to 4:51, oh, it hasn't done it. Oh, maybe it's, oh, sorry, 4:41, wasn't it? Where's it gone? Oh, it doesn't seem to work. Of course it doesn't. 4:51. Why hasn't that worked then? Oh, here we go. It's sort of coming up slightly later than it should do. So what happens is that wherever you plot, so you can see there's a white dot. That's why, because I'm moving that slightly. So when the video plays, it will get to the point on the white dot, and when it reaches that white dot, wherever you put your forms quiz, the video will then stop doing what it's doing and should, in theory, open up the forms quiz within the video. It might just not do it automatically. There we go. So the video should stop, the forms quiz will come up, and your students, children, will then get the option to answer the questions on the forms quiz. So what is a topic sentence? So they've just been learning about topic sentences. They can choose the answer, submit. We've gone a bit slow now. There we go. And then they can see if they've got their answer right, and then they can click on continue to video, and then the video will continue. And you can add a number of forms quizzes to your videos, and these will show up in stream within Teams as well. So you could do a whole teaching video and then add a forms quiz at the end of your video as an assessment tool, or you could add a number of forms quizzes throughout and just ask a couple of questions as you go. And like I said, all you need to do is click on add form, and then you go into your forms, find the form you want to share, click share, and copy the URL into your stream video. Really, really cool tool. I think it's one of the best things that has come out of Office 365 for a little while. Being able to add a quiz to a video, really, really handy assessment tool. So that's Stream and integrating forms quizzes into Stream. Next, I'm going to hand you back to Anthony, and he is going to talk to you about Insights.
Thank you, Ben. So Insights is quite new as well, but this is the one that gives us all the data for the kids. So lots of our questions have been, how do you track this? How do you help these students? How do you keep an eye on what children are struggling? Insights is fantastic for all of that. So you can, on there, you can view student activity, you can see how they're getting on, what their average scores are, have they handed their assignments in time. You can see that how long it takes a teacher to feed back to them, the average feedback time. So I'll just show you again how to add this one to your tabs. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. I'll get away from Flipgrid and back onto my 3M team tab, but that's why sometimes channels is good, because it's getting a bit crowded up there. But I want to add a tab. Insights is there at the top, and the great thing about Insights is you can just add it to your team and it won't show up for the children. It will only show up for it will only give access to people that have the teachers' email accounts. So Insights is there. It says, since the students don't have access to class Insights, uncheck the option to post to the channel about the tab, then select Save, so we don't need to notify them about it. It does collect all the data that they've got, so you would hit Save on there, and Insights will come up as a tab. So if we look on here, like these are not. These are fake students that we talked about. So it says 8 out of 8 have not been active today. If I go for the last 30 days, obviously this is different with our own class, you can see that they've all been active in the last month. I've got 7 days here. So it's really great. You can see which children have accessed Teams in the last week or month or day, which ones haven't. You can check with, we could then phone those children that aren't accessing Teams, just check, do you need any help to get onto our remote learning. It's got here on-time assignments, so you can see, are they handing their assignments in on time, their average grades. So this one's class-wide. To see the activity, you see these little grey bits will tell you what that child has been doing at that time. So if you just roll over it there, I can see that Ashley Baker she's viewed her English assignment, she's turned it in, her assignment on emotive language, she's viewed the fraction quiz, she's viewed her science experiment, and she's turned her experiment in. So you can see who's been handing in their assignments. This Raymond Keynes handed in, viewed and handed in the emotive language. You can also see on here how much the children have been chatting as well, so their communication activity. Obviously, these children don't talk because they don't exist, but our class, you can see who's chatting to each other a lot. Maybe that's why they've not handed in some of their assignments, because they're too busy chatting on there. Yeah, so all of that is up there. You can, on the digital activity, you can check for what it's for, like how much have they been looking at the assignments and activity on their assignments, how much have they been chatting would be their communication. You can see now the meetings, whether these children have been in the meetings. Obviously these children haven't, but if you do this, it will tell you if that child has attended the class meeting and for how long they've attended that class meeting. That's all in there. So we'll use it to see which children need support, who's not handing in their assignments. You know, give them a message on Teams. What's happening? Are you okay? The exclamation mark is there for any children that we think maybe you should have a look. They've not had much activity recently. The great thing here is that you can export all that data to Excel, and that will give you a detailed view of the students' work, of what they've handed in and their grades, how many have they handed in late or on time. It will even tell you on there the dates that they've been active on Teams, the total number of assignments, any missing assignments, their average weekly conversation. So all of that comes up to an Excel sheet, so you've got evidence of those children. So it's really great to see who needs support, who you need to go back to, who's struggling with the work, who's struggling to hand in the work, who's struggling to access the team meetings. Our children, because some of ours watch the recordings on streams, we don't worry too much about the attendance, but we did have a look today and we saw there were only 3 children that haven't been in every meeting all week, and so we can say to those parents, is everything all right? And those parents will say, yeah, we just catch up later on the video, or if they're struggling with their laptops, then we can help them out with that as well. And yeah, and it tells you how long they were in that meeting for. So it's really great for finding the children that you're a little bit concerned about, just very quickly going down, finding their name, having a quick look, exporting it to Excel to get a really close look, check for the month, check for the week, check for the last day, how busy they've been. So yeah, that is it for insights. So I'll pass you back to Ben now to see if we've got any questions.
Thank you, Anthony. So yeah, that's just a sort of snapshot of what we're doing with Teams in terms of apps. Like I said, there's hundreds and hundreds of apps available, and these are just some of the ones that we've been using. And of course, we could go into a lot more detail about each one, and I mean, we'd be here for hours. But hopefully that's given you some ideas of how you can use some of the apps. And a lot of these apps we have been using for remote teaching, but we were also using them before lockdown began and in the classroom, especially things like Flipgrid. It's such an amazing tool for all age groups, really, right from reception up to year 6 for us at Danesfield, and forms as well, not just for remote teaching. Forms in the classroom, children love it just because it's a bit of a different way of doing things. So if you have any questions, I'm just having a look now. It doesn't look like there's any questions at the moment. I'll just give it another minute in case anyone wants to put any questions up there. But In the meantime, if you want to find out any more about Danesfield, then check out, we have our Danesfield School Facebook page, and we also have our Magical Creative Teaching Facebook page. The creative teaching one is more about teaching ideas and sharing like display ideas, things like that. And also there is the same on Instagram, Magical Creative Teaching, which is a lot of display ideas and just sharing creative things that happen in the classrooms. Check out our Danesfield YouTube page. We've got some teams teaching videos on there, and then there's also our previous webinars are all listed on there as well. And then there's Talk for Writing videos. There's videos about how to run entire units of Talk for Writing. So there's lots and lots and lots on there. And our Twitter account. So there's our main Danesfield School Twitter account, but every year group at Danesfield does have its own account. So you can do at Danesfield Y1, at Danesfield Y2 for the different year groups, but Danesfield School, the main one, does usually share most of the things that happen, and we're regularly sharing the things that are going on now at school and also with our remote learning with the children's work at home. So always sharing ideas. Go onto the website as well, and you can get some resources on there for remote teaching and using Teams. Like I said before, check out the EdTech Demonstrator website, and there's lots of schools on there that are sharing really cool things as well with remote teaching, and probably similar ideas, but using things in slightly different ways. So always check out what everyone else is doing. Can't see any questions coming up, so thank you for joining us today. Make sure you check the website for our next webinar, where we'll be talking about using Teams and the sort of whole school approach to using Teams and remote learning. And check out Twitter, where we'll be sending the links to join our future webinars as well. So thanks for joining us. Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you.
And we hope to see you again soon. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.